Okay, right, we're going to start in about 10 seconds. I hope you're ready. Get your chips, get your chocolates, your little chockies, get your drink, your iced tea, your iced coffee. Right. Cripper, you were playing Alchemy Stars, weren't you? And weren't you playing Azur Lane? Wasn't that you talking about it? Or did you just try it out at the same time I did? Sneaky, thank you for the 5 gifted subs once again. These have gone to Blue Vega, Depresso Leo, Flipping C, Goo Goo, 2301, and Oz4A. Thank you very much for the subs. Much appreciated. All right. Let's go. Starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. So we're still on the Misha storyline. Huoka, endgame for what? Oh, Alchemy Stars. The way they pronounce Skull Shatterer is interesting. Why didn't they show the face? Because they want to pretend that it's more mysterious than it really is. It's a classic technique where you're adding false mystery. Like, unless the identity actually matters and you're going to reveal it later as some big twist, that's just false mystery. We ran out of budget. We couldn't draw another face. Sorry. Actually, after this, I have to show you a clip. Hang on, let me find a few clips to line up after this. We've also got... So we've got the Hades 2 trailer to watch. We've got the Bill Clinton winning the Game of the Year. And then we've got Armored Core. I've not seen it because I haven't played the base game. One problem with this scene is that they haven't done anything to give us the impression that anyone would actually believe that Rhodes Island doesn't help the infected. Like, the entire justification is just they fight Reunion, therefore they are bad. And just trust us, they aren't going to help you. Yeah, basically. It's just my source, me. Is Exia going to do something this episode? Yeah, Texas's blades are like a lightsaber. You see it in game. You see it more on one of her skins with the red blades. That one makes it more obvious. I'm vaguely remembering a video by Polarisu, I think. He does the lore videos, right? And I vaguely remember him saying there's no gunpowder in this world, or something like that. So all weapons technically operate on just the arts or something like that. Like, without the arts, weapons are crap. Where did Exia get a gun from? She doesn't have many places to hide it. I'll be honest. Let's go! Exia has a gun! 5 episodes later. Yeah, actually, if it's canon that the Rainbow Six team comes to this world, they would bring with them the existence of gunpowder. You can really tell that the voice actors, like Skull Shatter and stuff, were wearing a mask when they were doing the performance. It doesn't sound artificially muffled. They really need to show us more to sell the idea that both sides have a point. Like, if that's what you're trying to convince us, you got to show things to make us believe that. But so far, there's nothing that suggests Rhodes Island aren't definitely the good guys, and these are definitely not the bad guys. It's the cockroach. Skitter, 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 skitter. You can't kill the cockroach. W does have a great design. It's a really recognizable, like, iconic character design. It's very simple to see and remember. The Doctor's rock throwing abilities are a massive threat. He must be stopped. You cannot allow such wanton, dangerous destruction to walk free. Because let's be real, that's all the Doctor's done since the first episode. Oh yeah, he's got unlimited ammunition. He's a menace. He's a menace to society. I want pictures of the Doctor. He's a menace. He must be stopped. Oh my god, the doctor's doing something. No blood. Very disappointing. I mean, you didn't even need to do that. They're literally standing out in the open. Just hide behind a rock and just shoot them. There should have been a streak of gore right there. It just looks so weird when you see like just nothing. Not even, it doesn't need to be a lot. Just something to actually make it look like there's real damage. Wait, those guys have stealth? What stage? As a new player, when you do encounter those guys for the first time, they do seem pretty damn tough. There was a tiny bit of gore. What a miracle. Maybe because they look more monstrous, it's okay to have a little bit of gore? It's the roach. She's interfering with my plans. Wrecked. Where's the spinning shield attack? Give me the spin. Spin to win. Come on. Some actual gore again. Why didn't they just do that the whole time? At the end of the season, we need a doctor count from Amiya. Now, isn't that like skill 2 of Amiya? She's finally E1. They're a menace. I want them stopped. Get me photos of the doctor. I need his identity. Who is he? Where does he sleep? Who's he seeing? Get me those photos. Well, something finally happened. It only took 7 episodes. Hang on, I'm still trying to find that video. It's Twinkle Nora Rock Me. Twinkle Nora Rock Me. When you fire all the animators. Here we go. I finally found the clip. So, that episode, I would say, is the best episode of the season, for sure. Off of a very low bar. So that's really not saying much. But it's definitely the best episode of the season. However, in the grand context of things, it still doesn't have that much impact because, I mean, let's be real. Who cares about Skull Shatterer? Like, that's meant to be some great sacrifice. You know, you've seen it in anime a bunch of times where you have a villain who's very sympathetic and you kind of want them to, you know, realize that they can just team up. The good guys want the same thing and then maybe they'll change sides and come over, but you know that they're too far gone. They've just got that, that bloodlust or that rage that they can't get rid of and it's going to lead to their doom. So it's inevitable. And then eventually you get to that episode, that scene where they just go too far and they end up dying and you're like, such a pity, such a waste, right? But in order to get that feeling and to make it effective, you need to build it up. And Skull Shatterer's entire build-up was that one scene where he explains to Misha their backstory. That's it. And that's just Skull Shatterer just telling us all of this stuff. There's no emotional connection. There's no gravitas. There's no weight to any of it. So while action-wise it was pretty good, you just don't care. It's just like, whatever. It's just Skull Shatterer may as well just be one of those random, white masked grunts. It's just Skull Shatterer is just a masked grunt with a different skin. Yeah. And let me just close that off. Go back to that. Yeah. Yeah, you care as much for Skull Shatterer's death as just a random NPC. Because if you want that to have impact, you needed to build up the Skull Shatterer relationship from episode 1. It's meant to be this big, impactful, emotional moment, and it has the weight of just any random guy dying because you just don't care. There's no... You gotta make people care about the character first, then you kill them off if you want to have any sort of lasting impression. Whereas, from that scene, if you're gonna take any emotion, it would just be like just the slightest bit that Amiya killed Skull Shatterer. Because Amiya so far has just been this like, this energetic, happy girl all the time, which is totally doesn't fit the tone of the world, the rest of the show. But let's ignore that. And so that's like the slight tiny drop of emotion that you get, but whatever. It's really not very much. Also, as far as action goes, the once again, the storyboarding team very clearly demonstrates that they have no idea how to choreograph action, because the enemy strategy is just terrible. The enemy has no plan, has no strategy. They literally just stand out in the open in a line and then just run at each other. That bit where Liskam runs forward and blocks their shots and then she pulls out her gun and then just shoots them. Why did she need to do that? She could have just shot them from behind the rock. Literally anyone could have done it. Exia could have just done that. What's the point? And it was the exact same strategy as when they were in the courtyard in episode 5, was it? Where they just come across each other in the courtyard and they just run at each other. Like, that's it. The top tier battle strategy in the Arknights Anime is stand in a line and run at each other. That's it. There is no strategy. There is no tactics in this show. Despite what they try to claim by having the Doctor be a master tactician. There is none. Because the Doctor's super brilliant strategy is just attack them. All those words basically amount to just attack them. They're out in the open. You're just going to kill them anyway. Just fire. He's like, snipers, concentrate the front line. Well, no shit. They're literally standing out in the open. It's like, oh my god. You want me to care about the action? Make it so that there's some real risk and there's some actual tough opponents. Because they just do nothing. They just do nothing. The enemies just have no brains. And the Doctor's master plan doesn't seem like some brilliant plan because the enemies are so dumb. You can't claim that your protagonist is some master tactician if all it takes to beat the enemy is to say, just attack them. Your hero is only as smart as their opponent. You cannot have a hero whose intelligence goes beyond like 1% the intelligence of the opponent. Because if you have a hero who's like the smartest person in the world and the villain is the dumbest person in the world, it'll just... And if the hero executes some really smart plan, all it does is make you go, that's really dumb actually, because the enemy is so dumb, you didn't need to do this complicated plan. You could have just shot him in the head right at the beginning because he's standing out in the open. Why did you need to set up this like 9D chess plan to take him out? It's like, yeah, imagine Light beating up preschoolers. Exactly. It's just like, oh my god. You can tell that these writers, they just don't know how to write story and action and pacing. They don't know how to choreograph anything. They don't know how to plot a scene. They don't know how to stage anything. Build emotion, whatever. Yeah, the sentiment is literally just Surtur them, except every unit that you have is Surtur. Because the enemy is that dumb and that weak that everybody is as strong as Surtur. Oh my god, it's like... It's like going back to stage 0-1. That very first stage where you can't fail because there's not enough enemies to actually take you down to 0. It's like going into that stage and then slapping down Moina and then activating Moina and then going, my brilliant plan crushed the enemy. Look at how genius I am. It's like, yeah, well, no shit. These enemies are weak and they're just coming towards you in a line very slowly. That's not strategy. Oh my god. It just doesn't feel like they try with the action. It doesn't feel like they try. Because they didn't give the enemy any kind of plan, any kind of strategy. The enemy's big strategy is, we're just going to run at them in a line, and while you guys are fighting, I will go and attack the Doctor. But it's like, huh? You could see that Hoshi's there, right? And they know that Hoshi's a mega tank from earlier fights. So like, how the hell do you expect to win? Just Hoshi and the Doctor alone, you're not going to win. But like, the Doctor was with several people. It's like, what the hell? The enemy is, their level of intelligence is like a drone stage, a drone-only stage, and putting down ground-only units that can't hit the air. That's their level of brilliance. It's just garbage. The episode was better, but the anime is still garbage. The Arknights Anime is at best a 3 out of 10. At best, it's a 3 out of 10. If you had not seen much anime, you'd probably think it's a 1 out of 10. It's only when you see worse that you go, okay, maybe it's not that bad. Yeah. If the anime didn't look this good, you give this the budget of any throwaway isekai anime of the season. You give it the same quality music, the same quality voice acting. You do that, and not even the most diehard simps would be able to inject themselves with enough copium. Not even the fanboys could go, no, it's actually really good.
you just, you know, it's really, you know, slow and methodically building up the world and the lore and the characters and, you know. To be fair, the first 3 chapters of the game weren't that good.
It's like, yeah, well, if the first 3 chapters of the game weren't good, then why the hell did you just repeat the same crap? Actually, that would be really good to know. If anybody who can read Chinese can go to the Bilibili forums and, like, look at their discussions, it'd be very interesting to know this. Because in League of Legends, whenever there's the World Championships, people will go to the other territories' forums, like their main forum, and then translate to English some of the commentary, like the comments, so we can get a sentiment for what the other regions are thinking. It's just... Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if CN overall has the same opinion as I do. Like the same, like, level of sentiment. I can't imagine they think it's very good. Chinese anime is not the best. There's very, very, very little good Chinese anime. It's generally just style over substance. But I reckon because it's just, it doesn't even have the style. It's got production value, but without style, I don't think they're going to like it, even on that level.
This is the place.
Rudra, welcome, and thank you for 7-month sub. Much appreciated. CN expectation was really low for it being a gacha adapted anime, so it's not being too harsh. Yeah, I mean, same thing for me. However, because it's their own studio and the trailers that they do for each event, have like a good level of quality. As far as like a quick, animated trailer goes, they're very high quality. You kind of expect it a bit better. But yeah, my expectations were low. I went in with expectations of maybe like just a very average. Maybe a 5, 6 out of 10, right? If you think of that as average. And it's still way undershot that. Way undershot. If they had not had the production values, Jesus. Yeah. So while this was the best episode of the season, by far, it's off such a low bar and off such poor build-up that it doesn't leave much impact. The big death of the episode, whatever, don't care. The action, whoever choreographed that really should never choreograph any action ever again. The enemies are just so stupid. Whatever. And the weirdness with the gore. Brancy, that's a very good point. The gore was really weird because for about 75% of the episode, there's no gore. And then all of a sudden, we get like 2 or 3 shots where there's a little bit of gore. Like that minimum amount where you can actually, you can actually buy into it. It's like, okay, it feels like the guy actually got hurt and it's not just the equivalent of fade to black. When someone's going to get shot. And it's like, why don't you just do that same level the whole time? Is it in China, how you get like the ratings, you got the ratings board. And I know in America, for instance, if you are in certain, ratings brackets, like age ratings brackets, you get like a certain number of swear words, certain types of swear words. In China, is there like, you can only have a certain number of scenes with blood in them before you go up a rating? Yeah, like I just don't get it. Or you could, you could do, what's that What was that anime? There was an anime that was quite famous for when it first aired, like the episode would first air on TV, there was like black streaks across the gore. Like they would do like a black gradient to censor it. And then once it was out on streaming / DVD, etc., they just removed the black and you could see that it was like much more gory. Which anime was really well known for that? It was not a Chinese anime. No, not black blood, like literally a black streak across the screen. Like you go into Photoshop, you pick the gradient tool, and you just apply a black gradient and it covers like a quarter of the screen. Was it ReZero? It was a pretty big anime. I remember it was an anime that was fairly popular, and it was quite well known for having like the censored version, and then if you waited 24 hours, you get the uncensored version of the episode. Yeah, I think it's ReZero. It does sound like around the ReZero era, and that had a little bit of gore, like some scenes with some, where it's fairly gory, not exactly gory, but it's fairly brutal. And so what they would do is they would like really, fade it out to pass the censors, and then 24 hours later you'd get the uncensored version. No, it wasn't Tokyo Ghoul. Or maybe Tokyo Ghoul was, but I haven't seen the censored version of Tokyo Ghoul. Yeah, it's like a gradient. It's not an outright black bar. What they do is they try to make it look like they're in shadow. They try to make it look like there's a really dark shadow over the character. They're trying to censor it without making it so obvious that it's censored, even though it still is obvious that it's censored. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was ReZero. So because because he keeps dying in ReZero, and so it'd be like he gets slashed across the neck, and so the shot would be that there'd be this black gradient, like just below the neck, and so it looked like he was in shadow below the chin. And then you wait 24 hours, and then you see the uncensored version, and it's not that gory. It's not like, it's not like Berserk gory or anything. It's just, for TV, they're very strict, and so you can't show that kind of violence. And so they could have at least done something like, I hope they've done something like that here, where once the non-stream version comes out, there's some actual gore, because it just feels really weird. Yeah, it's not Edge Runner's gore. It's really weird how you've got this really brutal worlds, and everything feels like everybody's wearing mittens. Fluffy bunny mittens. This is a dark, dystopian, gritty world where everybody fights with fluffy bunny mittens on. Yeah, it just doesn't feel like a brutal world. You add on top of that Amiya's like perpetual cheerfulness, the lackadaisical way they move around the city despite being chased and running for their lives and being in great danger. There is no tension in this show whatsoever. That's another problem. Despite this being the big battle episode, there was zero tension. Absolutely no tension whatsoever. The enemies don't feel like a threat. I don't know why anybody's worried about anything in this world, because the enemies are just the dumbest people on Earth, and they're just no threat. Yes, I'm pretty sure she was firing to kill, but you never see her actually like properly kill anyone. It's like she just fires, and then they sort of just fall away. Yeah. That's the Arknights anime in a nutshell. Now, I want to show you some clips. So earlier on, when they didn't show Skull Shatterer's face, it reminded me of, I'm pretty sure this is the clip. I haven't double checked it, but I'm pretty sure this is it. When you fire all the animators. So this is from a infamous anime, a very old one called, if I remember correctly, it's called Twinkle Nora Rock Me. And it's infamous for having the worst animation in all of anime. Now, any modern anime that you've seen, and if you think it's got bad animation, you haven't seen nothing yet. And no, the video is not lagging. It's not stuttering or anything. Where are the rest of the frames? The bad guy ate them. Yes, they're actually moving so fast that we can't keep up. It's just so funny to watch. Like, there are some things where it's like, okay, you didn't even need to like do a different frame. You just slide it. Just slide it across the screen. Oh yeah, and then they put a lot of animation into this one transformation. And then she just vanishes. It's like, what the hell? What the hell is that? It's like all the budget went into that one monster transformation scene.